What is going on, Polestar fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. Currently down 2.5%. I want to break it down what the data points are currently saying and if this is a very good time to buy or not. So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get right to it. So I'm going to do a little bit more technical analysis near the end of the video, but as you can tell, things are breaking down with the broader market right now. So it's not necessarily just a Polestar sell-off, it is broad market sell-off. But starting off with options activity. This is the options activity. The market's been open roughly about an hour and a half, and there is a lot of calls being purchased, which of course that could be interpreted as there is upside anticipated at least. And if you do look at this chart right here, the put/call ratio, it is completely low, insinuating that there's been a hell of a lot of calls being purchased. And like I just mentioned, that does mean that there is a lot of upside anticipated. So just be aware of that. A couple of things I just want to share with you. There was a latest rating, or a rating roughly about 7 days ago, that was a $7 price target by Barclays. Unfortunately, Dan Levy, who did give the rating, doesn't have the best results, so only 38% success rating, but clearly it goes to show that behind the scenes, a lot of people see value in Polestar. And of course, over and above that, I just wanted to show you one thing, that the Morningstar report, the latest one that just came out, does show Polestar's fair market value at $6.84. So once again, you guys interpret that how you want. Obviously, the market doesn't always work in everyone's favor, but in reality, you need to find a good credible company such as Polestar and just stick with it. But of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. I also do anticipate this week, and more so probably later into next week as well, there being a little bit more FOMO kicking in around the actual earnings, so March the 2nd, because keep in mind, Polestar is and was the only company to hit their initial 2022 targets for production. So that is a very big deal. So I think a lot of people are really going to be watching their earnings very, very closely, more specifically their upcoming future guidance. But over and above that though, based on my last video, I did say that big money was secretly buying Polestar behind the scenes, because of course you can always calculate to see what they are doing behind the scenes based on volume and various other indicators. But I want to show you this. So these are all the transactions so far on the secondary market. And today there's been only one so far, so $164,000. But keep in mind that is fairly large and substantial for the secondary market. Secondary market is basically what retail investors do trade on, and these are all the transactions on the dark pool, so $264,000. And when it comes down to the dark pool, that is very much linked to shorting, more common than not at least. So I'll give you a quick update on that. Like I said, I just want to give you a good broad overview on whether this is a good time to buy or not. Short score is currently 73, utilization is 96.9. As far as what shorts are doing today, they're increasing 4.25 thousand shares, so not too much in the grand scheme of things. Very, very low short interest, so 3.19%, but the cost to borrow is fairly high, so 102.17%. So in reality, even though it's not the most heavily shorted stock, it could potentially have a small squeeze, if you want to consider it that way, around the FOMO for their earnings. So once again, that's something that you might need to factor into everything. But when it comes down to it though, I want to bring this up because I think this was a little bit more of a warning sign. So it does look like Polestar did announce a $7,500 clean vehicle credit, and this is based on available inventory. So once again, it kind of shows that there is a little bit more of a potential issue behind the scenes for demand. And like I've been saying over the last little bit, the used car prices have just been plummeting. So that does leave a little bit more of a gap in between the prices of new cars and used cars. So a lot of new car sales do have to lower the prices. So it does look like Polestar is noticing that there's a demand issue, plain and simple. So that might be something that does affect Q1 potentially. And like I said, when it comes down to their upcoming earnings on March the 2nd, that might be something that you need to factor in as far as what they bring up for future guidance. But over and above that, I just want to talk on some technicals for a second. So currently it is at $5.26 on the actual chart below all the moving averages, lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. So in that regard, everything is just breaking down. And most likely it'll just be trading between that 50-day moving average and the lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. That 50-day moving average is a pretty good pivot point in general. So I think right now things are turning a little bit more bearish. On this chart though, I like to have this, it shows stochastic and momentum. So momentum number of retail investors for the most part have been flat. So just be aware of that. But I think that's just been the general case for a while now. Stochastic is currently at 11. So even though it's gone down not too much, only roughly about 80 cents, give or take, from this kind of peak right here, things went from very much overbought to very oversold fairly fast. So stochastic is at 11. So just be aware of that. So in reality, that might be fairly optimistic for and justifying of a FOMO rally kicking in around their earnings. But like I said, going back here, in reality, you need to watch for these pivot points. So it is currently below that S1. So most likely in the coming days, it's going to continue to trade between that S2 and the S1, so around the $5 range. And if it does break below that $5 range, this is where things get very real very fast, because that $5 mark is a very slippery slope. But like I said, I do truly anticipate a little bit more of a FOMO rally leading up until their earnings. So that might actually be able to bring it back to that pivot point of $5.82. But based on the economic data points that's coming out, so there is GDP coming out on Thursday and PCE on Friday. If those are positive, then yes, that will validate and cause it to go up. If those, for instance, are negative, then this is just going to add fuel to the ongoing fire right now that is the economy. So in reality, if you are going to be buying Polestar, I would say and orient more so around the $5 range. Of course, that's me just saying as a non-financial advisor and things like that. But hypothetically, like I said, Polestar is getting a lot of good results, and you can't ignore that. So even though the market is technically selling off right now, this is a very good time to find good, credible companies and double down. So Polestar, in my opinion, is one of those good, credible companies as a pure global EV company. So in general, though, I think Polestar does have a lot of good things coming forward, which as well, they are investing quite a lot on their technology front. So that's been one of their negatives that I've really brought up in the past, but they're really investing on that. So generally speaking, Polestar right now, I wouldn't really touch per se until the $5 mark. My own opinion, like I said. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. Give yourself a shout out as well if you've been buying over the last couple of days, or this tentative dip, or where you see things going. Let me know in the comments below. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. One final thing, there is a massive promo with Momo only up until February the 28th. If you just sign up, you get one free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So that is a complete no-brainer. If you want to throw $100 at it as well, you do get an additional 4 free stocks. So make sure you guys take advantage of this promo. Link is in the description below, and also I'll put it in the comments. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. But with all that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Polestar.